What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. We are going to take a look at a clip from Nick Ferrari's LBC show yesterday, where he had Tory MP and Brexiteer Iain Duncan Smith on to discuss the Project Yellow Snow document that was released relating to us gaining British independence without a deal. And he also touches on the Ramona's attempts to demand advisors like Dominic Cummings and others' personal communications, including WhatsApps and emails, are given to MPs. It's not a very long clip because IDS only really needs a couple of minutes to rubbish this nonsensical report commissioned by the previous Ramona government. Iain Duncan Smith even breaches Privy Council terms while destroying the nonsense that is Project Yellow Snow. So let's check it out.
This is the position in which we find ourselves. Let's turn to Iain Duncan Smith, who of course was Work and Pension Secretary and indeed Conservative Party leader, Conservative MP now. This should be good. A couple of sentences, your view of YellowHammer, Mr Duncan Smith. Good morning.
Good morning, Nick. But before I say YellowHammer, I must say I listened to you earlier and I completely agree with you. This whole issue of Parliament now deciding that it has the right to see anything and everything from anybody opening up their mail is complete and utter nonsense and actually breaches Article 8 of the Human Rights anyway to privacy. So I completely agree with you. I think it's completely mad.
Now, I've only left that clip in because it points out what many have said during my live streams and I have said myself. The Ramona MPs who demanded access to private communications of individuals like Dominic Cummings constituted a breach of the Human Rights Act, and anyway, regardless of that, it is an unbelievable thing to suggest. If they can force MPs and government aides to hand over private communications, it won't be long before they openly do it to everyone. Eventually, it will be used against these Ramonas themselves. It's a slippery slope to go down, so I'm glad the government have denied it. Now let's move on to his Yellow Snow comments.
And to YellowHammer?
On YellowHammer, I've got it in front of me. It is 5 pages long, okay?
Yep.
People think this is some incredible, worthy document. It's not. What it is was a bunch of officials told, go and have a look at what you think could be reasonably the worst case scenario. So in paragraph 3, for example, they come up with the idea that you won't get through Calais because Calais could decide that they have to stop everybody whose papers aren't absolutely right and they've got no room in Calais.
Right.
I actually listened to an early briefing of this under Privy Council terms, which I will now breach, and tell you that when we sat and listened to this some few months ago as they were preparing it, I asked them a simple question. I said, did you at any stage in the course of that area talk to the Calais authorities about what they're doing? There was a shuffling of feet and complete silence. I said, you didn't, did you? They said, we weren't asked to. Oh. I said, don't be so damn stupid. In Calais, the head of Calais ports and the Pas du Nord has said they're already building an inspection point 40 kilometres away from Calais. If they have any issues at any of them, they ship them to there. There'll be no stoppage. They will not, and they said, stress, no matter what arrangements are made, they will not stop trucks more than they do at the moment if they don't have the right paperwork. Flow is everything to them, and they've guaranteed that. If they'd asked them that, paragraph 3 would have gone. Medicine staff threats would have gone. You know, all the issues about food and fresh food would have gone. And this is the point about YellowHammer. It was a deliberate attempt to try and, again, make it sound like this is a reasonable case. It is not reasonable to make an assumption about things that might happen without talking to the other side to figure out what will happen.
I love how Iain instantly makes sure everyone knows this document is not all the mainstream media have cracked it up to be. It's a few officials told by Philip Hammond and others to go and have a wild guess at what they think could happen in a reasonable worst case scenario, which is astonishing and goes to show the kind of snivelling shitweasels we are dealing with when we talk about the likes of Philip Hammond, Rory the Soy Boy Stewart and Dominic Grieve. These lot all commissioned this with the aim of using it to push Project Fear against British independence without a deal to keep the status quo going with endless delays. I have said it before and will say it again. The Maybot government never expected the Brexit party to arrive with Nigel Farage leading it. So they had planned to ride out these pointless extensions until 2022 at least, I expect, likely with the aim of revoking Article 50 and remaining in the EU at the end of it. The Brexit party forced the Tory MPs to get rid of Theresa May to save their party from the political abyss. The Remain biased civil service are now leaking the old documents to push Project Fear as we approach the endgame. You heard Iain point out the complete stupidity that went into paragraph 3 of Yellow Snow, which claimed there would be up to 2.5-day delays for trucks coming from Calais, which could cause food and medicine shortages. Of course, that paragraph is the exact paragraph mainstream media hosts and editors have latched onto over the last few weeks to push their anti-no deal narrative. Iain quotes the boss of Calais, who has stated many times there will be no delays regardless of whether there's a deal or not. It will take as long now as it will then to progress through the port regardless of the situation at the time. We all know it's not only the French authorities who have said that, but also the former boss of Dover Port also stated the same thing on Nick Ferrari's show the other day, and I made a video about it. Drivers and companies will have 6 months to get their paperwork in after crossing the channel, so there will be no delays for paperwork in the event of a no deal, with stations located throughout the UK and Europe that truckers can stop at miles before the border and ensure they are ready to cross. Iain goes on to breach Privy Council terms by revealing conversations from a few months back where he asked these civil servants if they actually spoke to the French port during the research and mitigation of this report, which obviously they didn't, because Hammond did not want them to, since it would completely rubbish paragraph 3, which we all know is the Ramona's #1 weapon against British independence right now. Because like Iain said, it's not a reasonable worst case scenario when you don't even speak to the other side to discuss their plans. It's like a Remainers argument, poorly researched and flawed from the start. What more did we really expect though?
Mr. Duncan Smith, do you think then YellowHammer is politically or motivated or biased?
I think there's no question in my mind that when it was asked for, they gave it very strict instructions. Do not go and talk to anybody else. Make this on your own basis of what you think might go wrong. As you said, crossing the street, not looking to your right, going on a zebra crossing and somebody doesn't stop. All these things are what might happen. I could sit here. This to me, I think, looks very much like a back of an envelope job. I could do this in half an hour. I could have sat and typed out to you all the things that might go wrong in life, in this case, in Brexit. But what they didn't do was do a good case scenario. And what this was meant to do was meant to say to government, these are the areas that you've just got to be certain that you've got remediation on, or that this is all changed. But the one thing, as I say, they don't do in this is say, what does the other side think about what they're doing? And that's really critical, I'm afraid.
Grateful as ever for your time, Iain Duncan Smith, and indeed your candour in breaking the privacy of a Privy Council meeting. And I appreciate you've broken all the expected sanctity of that. So Iain Duncan Smith sharing with us there the fact that when challenged, have you spoken to the relevant authorities in and around the Calais docks? To use his words, there was a shuffling of feet, and clearly they hadn't. So Iain Duncan Smith, very candid and robust on that. Thank you, Mr.
Well, Nick asked a question I'm sure he knew the answer to. Of course, the Yellow Snow document was biased. It was designed for the purpose of scaring MPs into either voting for Maybot's surrender treaty or continuing the extension phase we currently find ourselves in. Iain points out these officials had been given strict instructions not to talk with the relevant officials from other countries and ports. Just make this what you think might go wrong. No factual evidence, no discussions with people who might know the information to remove these issues. It's as Iain said, a back-of-the-envelope job with the credibility of the Labour Party's Brexit policy. It's about as biased and stupid as they come. Well, it looks like Iain Duncan Smith has finally had enough of Project Yellow Snow, much like I have. We all knew long ago that Project Yellow Snow was about as useful as yellow snow. It was simply a waste of paper and money by the Maybot government to use in future scare stories, which is what we have seen over the last few weeks. It was conveniently released after Boris took over as PM, so that should tell you all you need to know really. I think it served its purpose because it's managed to convince Tory MPs to desert their own government and back the Corbynated Chicken, Toe Swinson and the SNP's push for another extension. Maybe the government should have released it earlier to stop it being used as a scare story. Well, I'm going to end the video there, guys. I want to thank the channel's PayPal, Patreon and Subscribe-Star members for supporting the channel, along with everyone who watches my videos. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. Leave a like, subscribe with the notification bell and share this video as it helps the channel a lot. And I will see you all in the next one.
Snoop Moggy Mog. Snoop Moggy Mog. Snoop Moggy Mog. Snoop Moggy Mog.